Good morning. All right. I'm Gabe. I'm the regional director for the Rockies region, which covers this territory, and I have the role of MC this morning. I'm going to start with a very quick historical context for what you're going to hear about today. 5 years ago, in this building, Colorado became the first state in the country to pass legislation authorizing this crazy new idea at the time called rideshare. It was a bipartisan and really bold effort here in Colorado. 4 years ago, actually last week, Lyft chose Denver as its first city to launch a new program called Express Drive. Express Drive allows Coloradans to rent vehicles to start earning with Lyft. And over the past 4 years, we've worked with many people behind me and in the audience on trying to be good community partners on shared goals throughout Colorado. So I see people from CDOT and RTD, and we've worked very closely with the mayor's office. So this is all to say it's not unusual that Lyft would choose Colorado to launch a bold new initiative. And it's not surprising that our leaders, such as Governor Polis and our 2019 legislative group, would respond with the policies that fuel this type of progress. So with that, on behalf of myself and everyone working in Lyft Colorado, I want to thank our partners, our speakers, here today who showed up to support this effort. So we'll get this started now. I'm going to introduce Cal Langton, President of Fleet and Global Operations. Prior to Lyft, Cal actually built out the EV charging network for Tesla and managed 5,000 sales and operations leaders for Tesla Energy. So there really are very, very few people in the world who know as much about building at scale electric vehicles, so we're thrilled to have him leading this charge. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Gabe. Thanks, everyone, for coming out today. Extremely excited to be here in the great state of Colorado. Of course, thank you to the governor, Mayor Hancock, and all of Colorado's leaders who have joined us today. So, I mean, just kind of stepping back, Colorado's obviously been a fantastic place for Lyft. It's been a fantastic place for all kinds of green initiatives. It's a perfect place for us to talk about what we're going to talk about today. And I'll kind of tie into that a little bit. I feel that vehicle electrification is one of the defining elements of our generation broadly speaking, of course. I think that not only is it one of the key elements or necessary elements to combating climate change, it's also a key driver making cities more livable and bringing equity across our communities. So when we think about electrification, it's not just about climate change, it's not just about earnings for drivers in this specific case, it's about all these things linked together with clean energy and all the things that go together with really combating climate change more broadly. And I think that it's fantastic to be in a place that really feels that from the ground up and from the top down in the state of Colorado. One of the main reasons I joined Lyft was because I'm deeply committed to making electric vehicles more accessible in a broader range of applications and to a broader set of people. And really tying that to Lyft's mission to improve people's lives with the world's best transportation. So today, in that spirit, I'm pleased to announce that Lyft is making the single largest deployment of electric vehicles in Colorado's history, and one of the largest in the United States, by introducing 200 long-range electric vehicles, joining Lyft's rideshare rental program here in Denver. Yeah. So, thank you very much. Thank you. We're very happy about this. The announcement, that really this whole activity is made possible by the forward-thinking policy of all the folks assembled behind me and many others. So Governor Polis and his administration, Mayor Hancock, and leaders in General Assembly, and I'll talk more about that, but without them, this program would not be feasible at such a large and impactful scale. And we hope that 200 are just the beginning to what our green fleet will become in Colorado. Working with these leaders and others, we are hopeful that we can maintain a policy environment here in the state that will allow us to continue making and growing these innovative investments. As I mentioned, these EVs will be part of our rideshare rental program, Express Drive, which provides drivers looking to earn with Lyft access to a vehicle. So when we talk about this program, I think it has tremendous benefits because it addresses some of the key challenges around electric vehicle adoption. So we can improve access to folks, vehicle access to folks who couldn't otherwise access them because of barriers around cost, charging infrastructure. We create a significant earnings opportunity for our drivers by including unlimited EV charging, DC fast charging, with the vehicle rental rate for a no money down flexible weekly rate. And then given the scale of our ridership, it's a huge moment for EV adoption. We expect thousands, tens of thousands of Coloradans and visitors that the first time they ride in an EV will be in one of these rideshare electric vehicles. And so we have a big opportunity to do EV education and outreach to dispel many of the myths around EV capabilities, range, fit and finish, things like that, to really drive EV adoption more broadly beyond just the rideshare. So we see this as a beachhead, if you will, of adopting a wide scale of EV policies across Colorado and really driving the adoption, utilization of EV charging infrastructure, all the downstream impacts these 200 cars can have. So as I said before, Colorado is leading the adoption of electric vehicles. At the state level, Governor Polis has made this a top priority. Earlier this year, himself and leaders in the General Assembly, Senator Danielson, Representative Hawkins Lewis, Representative Gray, who are here with us today. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Good catch. Thanks. Took action by improving the existing EV tax credit to allow rideshare rental programs to qualify at scale. And that's really the key here. When we talk about overcoming barriers to adoption, in the near term, that vehicle cost is one of the barriers. There are many incentives across the country where you could use to mitigate that capital cost. Very few of them are applicable in commercial applications, whether rideshare or otherwise. So taking a more holistic look at the impact those programs can have is what the leaders behind me did, and really saying, okay, how can we maximize the leverage of these programs to drive more adoption, to drive more EV miles, to offset more carbon directly, and to show what these vehicles are capable of, and all of that is encapsulated in how we think about this legislation. So it's super awesome to see people thinking forward, getting outside of the normal bounds of what has been done before, and saying, how can we expand the impact of what we already have on the table? So huge round of applause for everyone for making that happen today. We also have other strong leaders taking action to help the state embrace a green future. Obviously, Mayor Hancock is here, who's made combating climate change a key part of his policy positions at the city with the 80 by 50 Climate Action Plan. Energy Office Director Will Torr, CDOT Executive Director Shoshana Liu, Public Health and Environment Executive Director Jill Ryan, Lieutenant Governor Primavera, and the list goes on. Everyone who's working together to bring carbon neutrality and EVs more broadly to Colorado. Huge round of applause again for them. Thank you for all your efforts on that. So next for Lyft, obviously more EVs in Colorado being the proximate goal. More broadly, we're coming out today to challenge other states, regulators, municipalities, NGOs, utilities outside of Colorado. Look at Colorado as the leader in this. How can we model these behaviors? How can we drive electric vehicles, not just for personal vehicle usage, but also for commercial fleets around the country? So that's really what we also want to come out and say as we challenge other folks to come to the table with us to make this happen outside of not just Colorado. So just in closing, just reiterate again how excited I am to launch this program, 200 long-range electric vehicles in Colorado today. This is just the tip of the iceberg for us as we scale for a long-term future, both in the state of Colorado and out, as we transition the entirety, not just Lyft's vehicle fleet, but the entirety of the vehicle fleet to electric over the next few years. So thank you very much, everyone. With that, I'll hand it over to Governor Polis, the leader in the state that is leading the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Look, this is exciting. These electric vehicles are going to hit the streets in December. The full 200 Lyft will be running by January. I was just talking to a Lyft driver who told me that their single biggest cost is gas. And so his earnings will go up when he's driving electric vehicles. Much lower cost to operate. They represent similar savings for all of you. That's right. Anybody can buy an electric vehicle and save 100% on their gasoline bills. And it's a really exciting way to save money, to get where you're going, to have a quieter car, and of course to do your part to reduce pollution here in our Denver metropolitan area. I want to thank Mayor Hancock, our Energy Office Executive Director Will Torr, CDOT Director Shoshana Liu, and the entire team at Lyft for making Colorado their single biggest investment in electric vehicles anywhere in the country. As you know, my very first executive order as governor, we prioritize health and clean air by taking steps to address air pollution by focusing the Volkswagen settlement on electric vehicle charging infrastructure. We have a goal of increasing renewable energy to 100% on the grid by 2040. And I want to point out that there are significant air quality and carbon savings, of course, even today with a grid that's 30% renewable energy. Yes, even our coal-fired plants are far more efficient at converting carbon into energy than an engine that my car has and that your car likely has. So as we move people over to electric vehicles and give people the option of commuting and ditching their gas bills once and for all, it is really exciting, which is why my budget also included moving forward with changing a number of the vehicles that the state fleet purchases to electric vehicles. Our goal is hopefully to have about half of those new vehicles we buy be electric vehicles over the next few years. We know we need to get creative, and we're excited that there's a partner here in Lyft. Lyft opened the door on introducing 200 electric vehicles in their fleet as part of their Express Drive program, where approved Lyft drivers can use rental cars, can ditch their gas bills, and pocket the extra earnings. And we know with the cost of living going up, how important it is that those extra earnings will return to people's pockets, the hardworking Lyft drivers here in Colorado. And whenever we can replace a gas-powered car with an electric car, there's a net positive impact on air quality and emissions, and a ripple effect because the move exposes thousands of more drivers to electric vehicles. People who get in a Lyft didn't know how amazing electric vehicles were on performance metrics and might start asking those questions and find out that, yes, they too can save money with an electric vehicle. Charging operators will benefit with more EVs on the road. With more sales, they can build additional charging infrastructure. And with more demand, we can lower prices for consumers and create good jobs in the process. And finally, this announcement also means that consumers will benefit. Look, this is what our renewable energy future looks like. Getting creative, saving people money, providing more choices, creating jobs, and staying focused on our goals of reducing emissions and improving air quality. This wouldn't have happened without the legislative leadership of Representative Matt Gray, who's with us today, Representative Joaquez Lewis, and Senator Danielson. I want to thank them for their important work. Lyft cited the policy framework in Colorado as an important reason as to why Colorado is getting 200 electric vehicles over the next month or two to be operated by Lyft drivers. So Coloradans have the opportunity to earn more money as Lyft drivers. Lyft is highlighting this program nationally. Cleaner air, quieter streets are all an important part of what's being accomplished here today. This is really what the future looks like. Getting creative, saving people money, creating jobs, and reducing our emissions. I want to thank Lyft for choosing Colorado and choosing to make this announcement here. It's important that so many companies are stepping up to become leaders in the renewable energy revolution. And as a result, Colorado is positioned for success in the renewable energy future. Coloradans will be able to get where they need to go, reduce their emissions, save money, do their part on climate. And with that, I want to introduce another great climate leader and leader on electric vehicles, the mayor of the town that we are in right now, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, who's been a key ally and leader in pushing the state towards even more aggressive renewable energy goals. Mayor Hancock.
Thanks, Governor. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. I want to acknowledge the presence of a great city councilman from Denver, Chris Hines. Councilman Chris Hines, thank you for being here as well. Thanks to Lyft, today Denver got cleaner and healthier. Thank you, Lyft. Thank you, Lyft. Listen, in 2015-16, Denver became a finalist in a competition that was designed and coordinated by good friend and then Secretary of Transportation Anthony Foxx. I believe is part of your team nowadays. And one of the reasons why Denver was a finalist was because of our commitment to electrification and the innovative strategies that we wanted to deploy. We were so proud to be one of the top 5 cities to end up in Washington to present to the Secretary and his team as a finalist. Well, we didn't win, and that's okay, because we came back to Denver, Governor, with the resolve to say we're going to implement this plan. And in 2017, I announced Denver's Mobility Action Plan, which we talked about at the time was a $2 billion commitment. And as a result, Denver began to move forward, to begin to improve our roads, to begin to find a way to make mobility around our city easier. We have a lot of work to do. But let me tell you something that did happen. As a result of the commitment that we've made, and at that time as part of the Mobility Action Plan, this year Denver will complete its purchase of over 200 electric vehicles to be added to its fleet, taking natural gas-powered cars off the road. We recognize that transportation represents 30% of our carbon emissions in the city. We also have started to deploy charging stations, Lyft, and so we're proud of what you're doing. Today, as a result, there are over 400 charging stations throughout the city of Denver, and as part of our 2020 budget, we have over $3 million committed to further our electrification in the city of Denver. Thank you, Mr. Gallardo, for being here today in our Public Works Department. So getting more EVs on the road and building the infrastructure to complement it has been and is a goal of Denver, not only for its climate change, but for all of us to be smarter, to be cleaner, and to be healthier. And so we are proud to stand with Lyft today. What Lyft is doing, I want us to put a pin in this moment, November the 14th, 2019. And remember, as part of our Mobility Action Plan, and what Lyft is doing today is saying we must look forward to the future. And that future says that we're going to have cleaner vehicles on our road. Electrification is the way to go, and encouraging companies like Lyft, who has proven through their efforts here to be a tremendous corporate citizen, a steward, and broadening their stance and understanding their impact on climate change while also providing mobility options to everyone across the board, is simply saying this is a cleaner, this is a smarter, and healthier way for all of us in Colorado to move about. This is a powerful day to remember, because 5 years from now, when there's a greater proliferation of EVs from Ford, from Chevrolet, from General Motors, we'll say there was Lyft and other companies like Metro Taxi who led the way by saying we need to get cleaner if we're going to move people about this city. So the city of Denver is proud to stand with you. Thank you, Lyft, for your commitment, for your investment in being our partner, and we encourage your drivers to use our charging stations. We'll be happy to have them use our charging stations. With that, it is my pleasure to bring to the podium the Executive Director of Colorado Department of Transportation, Shoshana Liu, who is helping to lead the way forward. Or is it Will Tour? Whoever.
I also want, well, yeah, I think it's Will Torr will be next, but I want to acknowledge our Lieutenant Governor, Diane Primavera, is here. She is also a dedicated EV driver. Diane Primavera. 3 EVs? 3 EVs. One's not enough for her. Office, Will Torr.
Well, thank you. This is an incredibly exciting day to be here. And I think it fits within the context of just incredible progress in Colorado on transportation electrification. In the last few years, Colorado has just been climbing up the ranks. We're now in the top 5 states in the country for electric vehicle market share. In the first half of this year, electric vehicle sales increased in Colorado by more than 100% compared to the first 6 months of the previous year. And under the leadership of Governor Polis and our legislature, this is just going to accelerate. There were 5 bills that the legislature passed this year to advance electric vehicles. The allocation of Volkswagen settlement funding will allow us to build charging infrastructure throughout the state. I would note that the Energy Office a few months ago was able to sign a contract for building out fast charging stations along every major highway corridor in the state, every 30 to 50 miles, so that by June 30th of 2020, you will be able to drive on I-70, I-25, Highway 76, Highway 40, Highway 50, Highway 550, and know that the charging will be there. So I think that we are going to see this as the first step of many in large-scale adoption of electric vehicles. Thank you, Lyft. And with that, I will turn it over to Shoshana Liu, the Executive Director of the Department of Transportation.
Thank you. I will quickly add, these are nice cars. And, you know, representative of the breadth of options that consumers choosing electric vehicles now have. And, you know, the range of crossovers and other multi-utility vehicles are only increasing. And, you know, this in front of us is a good example. I just want to add our thanks to everybody who's been involved in the tremendous partnership that's bringing us here to the milestone today. You know, first, just reiterating a big thank you to Lyft for their incredible work and a heavy lift on making today happen. But, you know, reiterating our tremendous thanks to the incredible partnership between state agencies and the legislature, the city, and, you know, all of the government partners who have created this hospitable policy environment that we're working in. You know, it really takes a village, and, you know, we benefit tremendously from that, you know, incredible all-hands-on-deck effort. And I would just add that this builds on a spirit of partnership that we've been developing over the course of the past year, including, you know, the work that we did collaboratively with industry and with others to develop a zero-emission vehicle regulatory policy for Colorado, and to really bring this host of policy actions together and get us where we are today. So thank you.